to our Flash Finance Update. I'm excited today to introduce Elizabeth Owen. And Elizabeth has been a long-term property investor and working with me for her mortgage broking. And she loved property so much, just like Ash last week, she wanted to become a real estate agent, which she has very successfully. And now she sells properties all over Melbourne, different boutique development sites purely for different builders and developers that are off market. So Elizabeth, welcome. And we today are going to talk about the new $25,000 grant from the government and give people some insights on that. So welcome, and tell us a bit more about yourself.
Hi Louise, thanks for having me today. Yes, I'm with Investment Studio Domain, and we do sell properties from builders and developers directly. So you won't find our properties on realestate.com or Domain. It's that exclusive market that not too many people know about, or they have difficulty knowing how to tap into. So I'm here to be able to help your clients do just that.
Oh, that's excellent. And tell me, we're talking specifically about this new grant because it's got lots of rules around it, and we're worried for people that they might not get the benefit of it, or it might not be worth it for them. So who is it actually aimed for?
Okay, the number one thing that they need to be aware of is that a contract needs to be signed by no later than the 31st of December of this year. So that's one of the eligibility criteria, apart from income. So they do an assessment on an individual or a couple's income. It also needs to be in an individual's name. So they would not be able to purchase in a company name or in a trust. So there is some eligibility criteria that clients do need to be aware of. It's not for everybody.
Do you have to be a first-home buyer, and do you have to be a first-home buyer or not?
No, you don't need to be a first home buyer.
But you do have to be an owner-occupier, is that right?
Yes, that is correct.
Okay. And the problem with, you've got to sign that contract, but the land, you've said very specifically there are rules around this. What has to happen with the land when you've signed your contract to purchase?
Sure. So if we're specifically talking about house and land product instead of townhouses or apartments, the one thing that's really important to be aware of is the title date of the land. So a title date is referring to the registration of the land. Now, what happens is that construction cannot commence until the land is titled.
Right.
So knowing that with this particular home builder scheme, construction must commence within 3 months of contract signing. If the land, for example, if the land is not due to be titled until April or May of next year, there's no way that construction will meet the criteria of when it needs to commence. So that's a really important point that the clients need to look out for.
Okay, so if they've signed also a contract before June, I think it is, they don't qualify either, do they? So you might have had land, but if you've signed a builder's contract prior to this point, then it doesn't qualify you for the $25,000, does it?
That's correct. It needed to be signed between the end of June or 1st of July and the 31st of December for the construction component there.
Oh, so it's really tricky. It's very specific and limiting criteria the government's using for this grant, isn't it?
There is a lot to navigate. There is a lot for people to be aware of. We all think 25,000 is fantastic, and for those who can take advantage, it is a very big help, but there is a lot to navigate through. That's why clients need organisations such as the Property Education Company to get factual information to make sure that they have proper understanding before taking that leap of faith.
Oh, thanks, Elizabeth. And what are some of the problems that people come up against that you've found over time?
Over time, the main problem is valuations.
Mm-hmm.
Especially at the moment, we're finding that valuations are very, very conservative.
Right.
And navigating through that can be an awful shock.
Yes, how right you are. So we've run into the problem where people have to stump up another 20, 30, 40, 50,000 in order to settle because their valuation is coming low, but you can only borrow against the valuation you receive near settlement. And that's what people often are unaware of You know, they've ended up thinking, oh, I'm okay, I've paid my 5%, I've got my home grant, and I've got my first home buyers grant, and then suddenly they're underprepared. And then, like we've just got a notification today, 14 days, land is due to be settled, better be ready with, you know, and that can cause problems, can't it?
That's exactly right. Not all families are in the fortunate position where they can make up the shortfall. And particularly recently, we've seen a lot of families that have just had to forfeit their deposits. They were not able to proceed, and it was in their best interest to walk away from the deposit rather than put their families in financial hardship.
Oh, that's awful. So sad for people, isn't it? And what worries you is then they've really been scarred by the process. So maybe they should, you know, they weren't warned properly enough in the first place. That's really the problem. They needed a bit better advice before that even begun, because they've shortchanged themselves.
Absolutely. It takes a whole team to actually purchase a property. It's not just going to the bank or going to a broker. You need to have your conveyancer or your solicitor, as well as a trusted property advisor. It's a whole team of people that get these transactions across the line.
Yes, indeed, you're so right. And tell me, we were talking about different property advisors, particularly those with big offices on St Kilda Road. And you were saying you've been getting some offers from them.
Yes. What I would diplomatically say is that when going to financial planners, if they are suggesting to purchase properties, simply ask them the question, are they getting a commission from the transaction? If they are, definitely ask for them to disclose just how much that is, and it may come as a big shock.
So how much commissions have you seen people offered?
I've seen it up to 50 grand per property.
Wow.
Yeah.
So, and that's on top of agents and other people in the mix as well, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely. That's exactly right.
Yeah, they write it off as sort of an agent commission, but it's not really, is it? It's sort of a marketing, you know, on top. And that's part of the reason why a lot of off-the-plan house and land packages drop in value when they settle.
Absolutely. Certainly not just house and land packages, but townhouses and apartments, where it brings us back to the topic we just touched on regarding valuations. Where's the shortfall?
Yeah.
There we go.
Well, that's why they need trusted advisors like you, Elizabeth, who are looking out for people, doing the right thing and not letting people get screwed. And I can't thank you enough for giving us your time and guiding us through that new grant, because we're worried people think, oh, it's just great and it's money for jam, but is it really? You know, and it's great to get your advice on that. So thank you very much for your time. And if anyone needs any help, they can contact Elizabeth. What's your best contact number, Elizabeth?
Best contact number, Louise, is 0437 218 808.
Fantastic. Thank you very much. And your website, what's your website? Or should they contact us directly and we can send it on too?
Contact yourself in the first instance, Louise, and we'll take it from there, simply because the properties are not advertised. That's the beauty of it.
So that's very clever. You are clever. Okay. Anyway, thanks for your time.
Thanks, Louise. See you soon.